Welcome to today's Crosspoint Devotion. Today we're going to go back to John's Gospel. We're going to go to chapter 1. Again, as I mentioned in the previous video, I was studying John chapter 1 a lot while I was at the beach on my summer vacation. And so there are some little nuggets and truths that I came across that were really significant to me. And one of those is that God knows our thoughts. He knows what we're pursuing in our thought life. Now let's chase down in your own life what you've been thinking about recently. Now we're in the summer, so some of you may be thinking about summer vacation. There's nothing wrong with that. I just had a week at the beach and I loved every minute of my time there because listening to those waves as I walked along the beach, it just calmed my mind and allowed me to think about a lot of things. And so some of you might be thinking about your summer vacation. Some of you might be thinking about your finances because as you prepare for the summer vacation, you know there are going to be some added expenses in your budget that really you don't have room for, but you know the vacation is pretty important for you to get some rest and refreshment and also for you to spend time with your family. So your mind has been preoccupied with where you're going to get the money so you can pay for that vacation. Some of you might be consumed with politics. It seems like every day we turn on the news, there's always going to be a new news story that's going to dominate the headlines. And if we're not careful, we can get caught up in the thoughts about those political situations that really, in some regards, we have no control over. What I want to show you is in John chapter 1, there was a man who had thoughts about God. He wanted to know more about God, and the way we know he wanted to know more about God is he was sitting under an olive tree. Now, if you go back and think about what we talked about in the previous devotion, John the Baptist has announced to two of his disciples, look, there goes the Lamb of God. Those two disciples began to follow Jesus, and then they began to find other people that they knew needed to follow Jesus as well. Then Jesus comes across a guy named Philip and says, Philip, I want you to follow me. And Philip decides he will follow Jesus. And after spending just a little bit of time with Jesus, Philip realizes this guy is the Messiah. He's the Son of God. He's the one we've been longing for and looking for. And so Philip decided to go and find his friend Nathanael. Now this is how it's recorded. Again, we're in John chapter 1. And it says in chapter 1 verse 44, now Philip was from Bethsaida, the hometown of Andrew and Peter. Philip found Nathanael and told him, we have found the one Moses wrote about in the law, and so did the prophets, Jesus, the son of Joseph from Nazareth. Now the first thing that Nathanael thought when he heard the word Nazareth is, Philip, have you lost your mind? There's nothing good that comes out of the city of Nazareth. Those people are country backwoods people, and nothing good ever comes out of Nazareth. But Philip finally convinced Nathanael, why don't you just come and see this guy that I've met? Just come and at least meet him. And so Nathanael did, and this is what happened when he met Jesus. Then Jesus saw Nathanael coming toward him and said about him, here truly is an Israelite in whom there is no deceit. How do you know me? Nathanael asked. Before Philip called you, you were under the fig tree. I saw you, Jesus said. Now that's a key phrase in the New Testament, under the fig tree. What that stood for in the first century in Israel was when you sat under a fig tree, it was the place where you wanted to think about God. I really don't understand all of the ramifications about why people would sit under the fig tree, but my guess is that fig tree provided a nice shady place with its big leaves, and you could get underneath that fig tree and just meditate and think about God. And the interesting thing is, Nathanael was sitting under that fig tree right before Philip showed up to say, come meet Jesus. So when Nathanael came and met Jesus, Jesus said, let me tell you where you were right before you met me. You were under the fig tree thinking about my Father. Well, that was enough for Nathanael to realize this guy is not just some common Galilean carpenter from Nazareth. This guy actually might be the Messiah, and he said so. How do you know me? Nathanael asked. Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. Rabbi, Nathanael replied, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel. Nathanael had been thinking about God. Perhaps he was thinking about the coming Messiah. Then all of a sudden he meets Jesus, who recognized, you've been under the fig tree. And Nathanael says, you are the Messiah. You are the Son of God. And he realized, I've now found the one that I'd been thinking about, and now he's come to meet me. This is what I want to share with you today as just an important truth. When we set our minds to think about God, He will come and visit us and reveal more of who He is. So I want to encourage you for the rest of this week to take some time every day and just think about God. Just meditate on Him. One of the best ways to do that is to get into His Word, and as you read about Jesus and meditate on Jesus, He's going to reveal more and more and more of who He is so you can know Him better. Well, I hope that'll encourage you, and maybe you can go find you a fig tree this week so you can get to know more about Jesus. I hope you have a great day.